Shout out to the homie, Baby Shawnee Mac, for always helping me with the research and getting things done. Today we're going to profile Big James Miller, the Brim Killer.
Come on, y'all, let's take a ride. Don't you say shit, just get inside. It's time to take your ass on another kind of trip. Cause you can't have to hop if you don't have to hit. Grab your cat with the extra clip and close your bars and hit the switch. We're going to a place where everybody kick it, kick it, kick it, jet after kick it. Ain't no blood, ain't no flipping, ain't no drunk ass nigga said tripping. Everybody got a stack and it ain't no crack. And it really don't matter if you're white or black. I wanna take you there like a staple singers. Put something in the tank and I know that I can bring it. If you can't take the heat, get your ass out the kitchen. We on a mission.
That was it. I never stopped banging. I started banging hard, then I got so hard till it was a shame.
James Collins Miller was born in Los Angeles, California, July 27th, 1955. Despite thousands of online myths about Big James Miller being from Harlem, New York, his family genealogy is deeply rooted in New Orleans, Louisiana. BJ came from a solid family with a hard-working military dad. His dad was a World War II veteran who served this country from 1942 to 1946. Pops also worked as a delivery boy before moving to Southern California in 1950. It's unclear to me where and when his parents met, but they got married in 1952. That's when they decided to have a family. They landed a house on East 124th Street in Palms Lane. They would give birth to a daughter in 1954. The Millers were a very large family, and a lot of their relatives moved in and around the greater Los Angeles area. James' moms come from the state of Texas, and at some point, his parents would break up. James and his mom will relocate to Florence Firestone area near Watts, California. How do you know James Miller?
Well, we grew up in the same neighborhood since we were children.
BJ, otherwise known as, is just that the mention of his name activates an emotional place for me.
Actually, his first cousin was my first girlfriend, so we really got close then. And basically, we were just like neighborhood friends.
At the present moment, I'm unaware of any relationship between James Miller and Mac Thomas, but at one point, James Miller lived within walking distance of Mac Thomas.
Come on, y'all, let's take a ride. Don't you say shit, just get inside. It's time to take your ass on another kind of trip. Cause you can't have to hop if you don't have to hit.
This is footage of the house Big James Miller grew up in with his mom during the 1960s in Watts, California, on 92nd and Kalmeyer Street.
We were like, I say, a stone's throw from the Jordan Down Projects. Right down the street from the Jordan Down Projects.
What's the nearest intersection?
Major intersection, I guess, would be Firestone and Alameda, or you could say Century and Alameda if you're looking at major cross streets. But I lived on 92nd, and he lived closer to 95th in a street named Kalmeyer Street.
What elementary school did you guys go to?
92nd Street School.
And about what grade was you in when you met him?
Maybe the 5th. But back in the day, we had A and B. So we was like me and my friend here, Jimmy, we was in the A5, he was in the B5, so he was like right behind us. But then they converted to 2 and just made it 1, and so he fell a whole year behind us at that point.
Did you guys attend junior high school together?
For a while, see what happened is, I was going to get to that anyway. He moved with his father and in junior high school. And that's when he went through almost, I guess you could call it what is that, like the whole go through? Metamorphosis. Because he came back, he left like a little fat boy, and he came back like Hercules. He was like what a woman might call Adonis. He had got tall, he was walking around like this. And he came back with vengeance in his heart too. Everybody who had teased him when we were younger, he made sure they knew that he was like being bullied. He came back as the bully, if you understand my saying. He wasn't being bullied no more.
Was he a part of any gangs when you guys was coming up?
Not at our younger age, but when he came back when we was about 16, 17, I guess we was about 15 or 16 in there somewhere. And he had got affiliated with a gang called the Harlem Crips. The Warlord.
Big James was a star football player at Dorsey High School in the early 1970s before enrolling at Manual Arts High School.
James Miller went to Manual Arts High School with us. Okay?
Back in the day, people don't know about this, but coaches would actually recruit you to go to another school. So in his junior year, he was going to Dorsey, and Manual Arts coach seen how good he was and actually recruited him to go to Manual Arts.
I would sit on the bleachers at Manual and watch James out there on the field. James was a hellified football player.
During the early to mid 1970s, it was a well-known fact around town that the Brims attended Manual Arts High School, located at 4131 South Vermont Avenue, near what is now called King Boulevard. Some people attribute Manual Arts becoming a Crip school due to the influence of the one and only Big James Miller, whom many say would go up against the Brims even when he was by himself.
I wouldn't let him look here. I wouldn't let nothing happen to James because look here, Manual's our school. So James was a star football player of our school. So man, look here, James had a pass with us.
After the meeting we took in 1973, Michael Christian and myself, we left. After starting the Godfathers in the 9-0 hood, we left and joined up with Big James, Dennis, Michael, and Melvin Johnson, Deadeye, Forehead, Chili, and the rest of the Harlem crew. And we started calling ourselves Harlem Godfathers.
Big James landed in Eastlake Juvenile Hall in the early 1970s.
Yeah, I went to Eastlake, man. Oh, man. And when I went to the laundry room, I saw a big bald-headed brother. I mean, he was so huge. But he had the juvenile hall sweatshirt on. I said to myself, I hope that brother Bonnie Hunter, or Brim, you know what I'm saying? Anything but a Crip. That's a big motherfucker, man.
He was kind of a frightening person, but I didn't worry about him because we were almost like cousins. So, it is what it is. Everybody seemed to be affiliated with some type of organization or another. They call it gangs. So,
Big James' name, size, and heart makes him unforgettable to the rivals.
Hey, AC, yeah. Somebody out there with all that. I said, what you want, man? You AC? Yeah, it's AC. Yeah, homie. Me and you gotta get him a head up. I'll be there, homie. We gonna do this then.
So how did you find your way to the 30s, and who did you meet when you went there?
Well, Shotgun, original Crip, still living today, he pronounced that they had guns. You know, we needed some guns. You know, this is before Big James Miller got out. You know, we went down there, you know, to talk with them and possibly, you know, get some of them guns. And we ended up, you know, liking each other, coming together. You know.
What year was this?
In 1973, we joined Harlem Godfathers.
Do you know, child time came. We walking through there. And guess who coming out the kitchen? Come from there. They set that shit up. So he walking toward this way, I'm walking toward that way. Now, he walking like this here. Now I gotta, I'm doing this now. What's up? What's up? What's up? Fall out, nigga, fall out. We going, man. Hey, we get down, homie. You? Hey, look. When the police find that stuff in, shit. I wasn't in a rush. He wasn't in a rush to get that shit back started, right? We took blows, man.
Two heavy ones.
Two big old dudes.
Blow for blow.
We blowing them though, man. I'm getting them. So like, Crips couldn't say nothing. The homies couldn't say nothing. It was get down. And they became my best friend. Hear me?
That's how shit happens.
Hey, look, we didn't fight no more. I said, let me say, yeah, what my partners? Yeah. My partners, ever since today died. Partner, man. But I think everybody would give me more respect. Now, because anybody fight James, they see him coming in running. Big James, they had 20 men. So what I'm saying, he'll be gonna do. Yeah, we got down though. That's why I got my respect there. That's why I got my respect there.
How long did this alliance or communion last?
Well, it lasted all the way until, I'd say, 74, mid 74.
And what were your hangouts back then when you guys were Godfathers?
2nd Avenue in Jefferson. 2nd Avenue, that was Dennis Johnson's house. That was our hangout, 2nd Avenue in Jefferson.
What about Dinker Park and all that? Was that part that wasn't in the play yet?
No, that wasn't in the play yet.
Okay, what caused the split when Harlem went their own way and Godfather kind of faded away? What caused that?
Jail, incarceration.
Incarceration.
We went to jail. When I went to jail in 74. Big James, he went to the prison. He went to jail. He got out, went right back for a double murder. Him and Kenny Robinson.
In 1976, Big James would be arrested for robbery, murder, and kidnap, along with 3 co-defendants. They were charged with 18 counts of armed robbery, 2 counts of kidnapping for the purpose of robbery, and 1 count of murder related to a robbery. After 3 mistrials, the trio found themselves waiting on a 4th trial. They would eventually be found guilty in front of a jury trial and sentenced to state prison.
We did a few little those stick-ups together. But once I went by myself, me and another guy that was in this trio named Nelson Ward, who was also a good friend at the time. And we went out alone, and it didn't work that well. We got caught by the police. Actually, we was in across the street from the Hollywood Police Department. They didn't even put us in a car. We just walked to jail.
While serving a prison sentence of 7 years to life, Big James successfully made the transition from the streets to the pen, exceptional and unprecedented. BJ would become known for having one of the largest prison reputations as a member of the Crips, surpassing that of most notable Crips inside the prison walls. In 1980, while doing his time in Soledad State Prison, he created the first Crip car in California's prison system, known as Blue Magic. And in 1983, they became CCO, Consolidated Crip Organization, which for all intent and purposes was to unify Crips of all sets and halt Crip-on-Crip violence.
Imagine you in your cell, you go to the yard, and you come back from the yard, and you got your one hand, they unhandcuffed one hand, and they got the other hand, and a man of another color come up under your bed and stab you while the guard got your hand. Them the things people don't want to talk about, but the guards purposely put other inmates of your enemies in your cell, and while you handcuffed still, and they stabbing you while they holding your hand. This is what people don't want to hear, but it's the truth. We had to survive in ways you can't imagine. Imagine being put out your cell at 2 in the morning and they got a fire hose, the guards, and they fire hose your ass down and send you back to your cell soaking wet.
Talk that shit,
Survival, baby. That's what we had to go through.
Part of CCO's ideologies was attributed to the Black Panthers, nationalist George Jackson, African American literature on the great black warriors, and Mao Zedong, a 20th century communist leader. The idea was thought to be honorable, but with the wild group of gladiators, there was too much that could go wrong, and it did. Pressure, threats, coercion, and intimidation caused many to join without the passion for unity and salvation.
When I finally embraced CCO, it's because of the educational component. It's because I never finished 7th grade. I couldn't tell you how a middle school certificate was or a high school certificate was. I had to learn shit the hard way. So when they told me I had a quiet period, I fought it. Trust me, homie, I fought it. I didn't read no motherfucking book. I ain't doing no quiet period. I'm talking over the chair. And there was consequences for that. But I had to be man enough to accept them consequences, no matter how radical and how vicious and how violent I was. So I started reading that book. They said, no, right now you got to read it. You got to give us a 2-page book report on it. I said, you motherfuckers crazy. What the fuck is a book report? Because I was naive. But when I start doing book reports and I start reading what I wrote, it helped my comprehension.
So education was part of the survival.
Education was totally important. Education was important. So when I saw the protocol from a foot soldier to a soldier to an officer to intelligence officer to security officer to all that shit, I purposely wanted to learn every step. But the agreement was I am on that central committee, but I would learn every fucking step still. But I had the same equal power with everybody else. So when I saw the education, I saw the discipline, I saw the machine in motion, all that told me we finally got something that was good for us. And at that moment, it was good for us. I promise you, it was good for us. I don't know what happened in Tracy when homies said they were being forced to turn CCO. I don't know what happened in San Quentin and Soledad and them other prisons. I don't. But what I stood for when I represented Consolidated Crip Organization, what I stood for righteousness.
In 1985, BJ began to step back. He minimized his cripping to find inner peace. Several years after CCO disbanded, in 1990, he met his wife, who eventually gave birth to his children. While serving time in Tehachapi State Prison, he became a certified X-ray technician. In his dearest efforts to achieve peace, he rejected the notion of lending his support to insufficient and ineffective street organizations.
When shit turned bad, I kept it right. When older homies try to slap younger homies, I grabbed their hands and said, not on my yard. When the little homies came to me and said they didn't want CCO no more, I said, why? They said, Rock, there's a lot of shit going on. There's a secret party, there's this. I said, you know what? I'm for the little homies. Because I was that same little homie who was lost, who had no guidance when I first went to Tracy. So I said, you know what? Y'all don't have to go to the yard. I will go to the yard and dismantle CCO. I said it. I said, I will go to the yard. When I went to the yard at that time, 3 of the top rank and file members got on the bus to go to the county jail. Well, you had 3 or 4 other ones still there. I went to the yard and said, all the Compton Crip go back home. All the Compton Crip. Papa, rest in peace from Long Beach, said, all insane, go back at home.
When you say go back home, what does that mean?
Go back to your neighborhoods.
Big James died in prison June 14th, 2006. Unbeknownst to most, James made a life-altering decision when he accepted Christ several years before his death. He died 30 years after his incarceration.
Sitting reminiscing about the days